Oh, hello. Well, hello, my friends, my family, fellow people of the world. Welcome to the Don't Stifle Me podcast. My name is Jacob Stee-full, and this is a fun little thing I do where I get to sit down with people from all across different facets of music and performing arts and talk with them about how they got to where they are, the challenges and ups and downs that you face along the way, and whatever else comes up while we're talking. I also happen to be a singer and songwriter when I'm not podcasting, and I've got some shows coming up. Where are they, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. This Friday night, March 30th, I will be in Noonan, Georgia. Saturday, March 31st, I'm playing here in Donaldson, Tennessee, just up the street from Nashville. And next Friday, April the 6th, I will be in Gunnersville, Alabama at The Brick. And for other dates and info and music and all that, you can check out jacobstiefel.com. As for the podcast here, for the time being, this is a totally listener-funded operation, which is to say that if you enjoy these talks, then you should definitely subscribe, please. But also go check out patreon.com/DSM podcast. And over there, you can get some info on how you can get behind the scenes access, like pictures and videos and MP3s, but also you get to help keep these conversations happening. So you can be a part of the whole process. And that is patreon.com/DSM podcast. All right. Now, friends and neighbors, my guest today, I was super excited to sit down and talk with Mr. Leroy Powell. Leroy is one part of Whiskey Wolves of the West, a group out of Nashville here, and he also played guitar for Shooter Jennings for several years. He had a sort of solo project under Leroy Powell and the Messengers. I played a couple shows with him several years back. Badass rock and roll music. He's great. He's a killer musician, singer, songwriter, cool guy, and I had a great time sitting and talking with him over a couple of cups of coffee here at the house. And I'm glad he came in. We even played some guitar for you at the end, so check that out. Here is my talk with the one and only Leroy Powell.
Pick it up from piano.
It ain't dying I'm talking about, it's living.
In my house, sitting here across from me. The
Thanks for having me.
Are you one half of Whiskey Wolves of the West? Are you 1/4 of Whiskey Wolves of the West? How's that work?
Whiskey Wolves of the West is a LLC. It's a limited liability corporation.
Yeah.
We both, me and Tim Jones, decided we were too old to be in a band, so we started an LLC.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But I guess I'm half of the partnership in the LLC, but
Yeah.
really I'm just a part of it. It's sort of a collective of a bunch of people.
Cool.
I guess 6 or 7,
Maybe
10.
First thing I thought, and I feel like a lot of people probably think, is where in the hell did that name come from?
Well, it's my beautiful wife. She made it up. Well,
Yeah.
fiance. Won't be married soon, but she made it up. She says, you should just have a ridiculous name, like Whiskey Wolves of the West. Everybody loves that stuff. And I said, wait a minute, can you repeat that again?
So just off the cuff?
Off the cuff. She's an amazing writer and such, so she just comes up with stuff. It just stuck. Band names, if you're ever in a band or decide to have a band, coming up with a name for it is bizarre at best.
Yeah.
It's,
because once you pick that, like, that's it.
Yeah, you really kind of fall into it. And then you think about all, like, your bands that you really love that, the names become great because the music was great.
Right.
Like Pearl Jam is a shitty name, but man,
But the music, right? Yeah,
you're
that's
like
a good point.
it became a thing.
Yeah, it's like AC/DC. What does that even mean?
That's kind of cool, actually. All the good band names were taken.
Yeah, I was trying to think of
like
weird names,
like Lady Rainbows in the Sunset. That's going to be the next big band. You just got to come up with whatever.
they're just the weird shit.
Anything, just whatever that comes to mind.
Yeah. Turn that mic The front of it is actually on that side, so rotate it this way. Yeah, there you go.
There. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, it's not right in there. Hey, there you go. Perfect.
Roll. Look at that. Man, it's the first cup of coffee of the day. I haven't even had any more. Usually I've had like at least a half a pot or a pot before you get
It's
there.
good. We'll get ramped up.
Yeah,
It'll give
halfway
you,
through. Woo!
It'll give you time to get excited.
Where are you from, Leroy?
I'm from California, from the desert in California.
Yeah.
Southern.
Is that where you grew up, born and raised out there?
I grew up out there, and yep.
Nice. When do you have brother? I know you have one brother at least.
Yeah, my brother Chris plays the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been doing just great. You turn on the we had we were really excited. The Whiskey Wolves had a little write up in Rolling Stone in the Rolling Stone is it magazine or online? It's all the
Rolling Stone magazine's website or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
It's all in. But we were on there, and I look at the list of all the albums, and I go, oh yeah, look at this. I'm on 2 of the top 10 albums.
Right.
And I text my brother. I said, hey man, he's on the road somewhere and I said, hey, look at this list. We're on 2 of the albums. And then he looks at it and he texts me back. He says, I'm on 3.
I was gonna guess 6, but yeah, he's a killer drummer.
He's a great drummer.
Yeah.
He sure is.
So he's younger than you, right?
Yeah, by a couple years, and now we'd been playing music, for a while.
Who started first?
I suppose I was the one who started, and then I started playing drums, and then I realized I couldn't play drums and play guitar and play bass by myself.
Can't do it all.
I couldn't find. They didn't have a loop or pedal like I needed back then.
Yeah.
And so I got my brother to kind of teach him a few things, and literally it wasn't more than a couple of days, I realized that he was the drummer.
Yeah.
He could play it better than me, like immediately.
That's cool.
Which was really cool. Yeah.
It's cool how just with some people that just clearly comes natural, as opposed to you could sit and try to show somebody else for 6 months and they would never get it. But some people, you just show them in a day or two later, they're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's how I was trying to. When people ask, how do you learn how to play guitar? What started it?
Yeah.
And it's really like a mad obsession that starts up out of the blue. You just kind of gravitate towards something and you just start going after it. And I think it does help to be younger because you don't have any obstacles there for you don't know that it's impossible.
Yeah.
It's like my first try at making music. I got a guitar player magazine back. They had these magazines.
Yeah.
With words inside of them.
Yeah, kids, there were these physical things that you would open up and read the words.
You open them, and every month, like it was Guitar Player, or I forget one of the.
Was it Guitar One? That was one I used to look at. But
it wasn't. I was Guitar Player, Guitar World, or something.
Yeah.
And inside, they'd usually have like 3 or 4 songs that were transcribed. So you had to. There wasn't necessarily notes, but I could kind of read notes, but it was easier just to look at the numbers and figure out the tabs. So I remember my first one that I got was it had "The Wind Cries Mary" from Jimi Hendrix in it, and it had "Over the Hills and Far Away" by Led Zeppelin, and "Keep Your Hands to Yourself" by the Georgia Satellites. And I didn't know that those were really difficult or what it was. I just started going after it. And I just really learned them, and and it's really funny enough. Those 3 songs are basically how I play guitar. Like
just the combination.
That's like,
those. Yeah.
And it was like the first thing that I really took a study at. I really went for it, and then after that, you have people show you stuff, but yeah, you can just do that on your own.
Yeah, I remember when I being 5, 6, 7 years old, and before I took piano lessons at 7 and 8. But before that, Mom always had an old classical guitar that sat in the corner, and I remember getting it at 6, 7 years old and just going boing, boom, just like putting my finger on the string and somehow knowing that you could pluck it and move your finger up the neck and it would make the sound different.
Yeah, and then
I didn't know. Yeah, after that, and then I went started taking lessons at 9 or 10 or so, and then it was like I hadn't put it down since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's just weird that way.
Yeah, and I was telling somebody the other day, I'm gonna play the guitar regardless of what I'm doing in life. I will be playing the guitar until my hands no longer work. Like you walked in here, the first thing you did was picked up one of those guitars and started playing. I was like,
I did.
Yeah, it's great.
I did. I love those
My
things.
kind of guy, yeah.
I love those things. I don't know what it is.
One of my favorite memories from being in college in Tuscaloosa, from 2005 to 2009 was, I think it was in 06 or 07, going to the Jupiter and seeing Shooter Jennings coming through on I think it was the Electric Rodeo Tour.
Oh man, that was the Barely Alive in 2005 tour. That's what we called it.
But me and my buddies stood right in front of you. You were stage right, if I remember correctly.
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad somebody does.
But I remember the two best parts of the show were Sweet Savannah, when you played the 12 string,
Yeah.
and when you did when Gone to Carolina. The solo in Gone to Carolina is one of my favorite solos ever.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I actually
That's
watched it
crazy.
on YouTube this morning.
You did?
Yeah.
Was it the one where I used the whammy pedal as the steel guitar? I was trying to make it sound like a
It
steel.
was down, 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 down.
Yeah.
And then he kicks off, then bending up high, and then you keep going. Oh,
Yeah, that was
You can
it.
pull
That was
back
when
up.
I wanted to make it sound like a pedal steel, so I got one of those whammy pedals, and I didn't have a pedal steel yet, so I was trying to learn how to do it. And so I just tried to make it up on the thing. The Jupiter Club, I think we were playing with Robert Earl Keen, is that right? Or that was we were by then we were doing our own thing.
It was the Shooter show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love those. Those were good. Those were fun times.
I remember walking up the alley from my apartment. It was like 2 blocks behind the Jupiter, and we were walking up, and your tour bus was out there, and somebody was stepping down. I told my cousin Chance that you met earlier. I was like, man, it'd be awesome if that was Shooter getting off the bus there, and it was. He was coming out to smoke a cigarette, so we stopped and said hey, and he was nice and shook our hand and met us, and just real cool guy. We were like, all right, we'll leave you alone. Have a good show. Where did you?
I thought it was a good show.
When did you get in with him? When did that start?
It was in that I was. Well, it's a long story. I guess I could tell it. I was playing at this place called the Saddle Ranch in Los Angeles. It's like this place. I really just needed a gig, and I was moving. I didn't know what I was doing. I had a couple bands I was playing in, and I thought I was just going to throw in the towel and just start like teach or something. I just wasn't feeling very good about where the music was going. So I took a gig. My friend offered me this job where I'd go to tables and take tips and requests with a fiddle player, and we would walk around the restaurant. And it had
So you were a mariachi band, except
it was like country. It basically mariachi, but it was like the concept was like we were doing more like rock and roll and country and sometimes hip hop. Even we were doing like 50 Cent and Ludacris. And
so what years was
this? Is 2001, 2002. In 2003, I guess I was there for a few years, and in that time, I got a bunch of gigs out of doing that gig. So people would just like, "Hey, man, can you come in and play here? Can you do this?" And and then eventually, I got a call to come down and meet Shooter out of that gig. His manager, Lex, at the time, and I went down to hang out with them, and instead of hanging out, we ended up recording a whole song. Him and he played drums and guitars and piano and sang, and then I played bass and guitar and slide and harmonica and sang, and we made the Dukes of Hazzard song. Because he needed to make one for some movie or something like that.
Oh, probably for that one that came out, back then or around that time.
Yeah, and well, we made the song, and that was our first time hanging out. We just made a song, and then he gave me a little cassette demo of everything, and he'd written this song called "The 4th of July" on it, and I listened to it, and I thought, oh man, we just do this little thing to it here, and I can play this part here and this, and then we decided just like to hang out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't really, we didn't like say, hey, let's have a band.
Yeah.
It just
clicked, and
it was
so
like
let's just hang out,
we couldn't not have a band. It
Yeah.
became like this is fun. Let's just do this for a minute, and then it was a good few years.
Yeah, man, that the Put the O Back in Country album was like, it came out, sometime my junior or senior year of high school or so, and my senior trip, we all that's all we listened to, like going down to the beach and at the beach and whatever. So
that's good to hear.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that it was like that.
So you're in my memory banks, Leroy Powell,
Oh.
even though we've only been acquaintances or friends for a short while. But so what did you do before that? We're out of chronological order here, but it's okay. There's no rules. When did you start playing music out, like playing in bands and playing shows?
Oh, I'd been playing since I was a kid, so I just started playing. We'd play. Me and my brother had a band, and we played for, years in that situation. And then I've had different bands here and there.
Yeah.
And you just trying to just hammer away at it and
Figure out what you're doing in life.
I've had various, you have various degrees of success and such. And then the Shooter thing happened, and that was great, So then I got to go out and be on the road and see a lot,
experience a lot and learn a lot.
Yeah, do a whole bunch of stuff, and then when that ended, I ended up recording a bunch of my songs. I went and did a bunch of things that I had written, and we made music to varying levels of quality, to be kind about it. But then it was fun. I got to work with some cool people, and then when I decided to move here officially, and was it 2007, I think.
Okay.
But
Nice. So when did the Leroy Powell and the Messengers thing come about?
that was just right after Shooter.
after Shooter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just decided I was going to have a little band and just call my stuff that.
Yeah.
And the Messengers became all these different people.
Right.
So
it's just you and the band.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then but when I got to when I got here, I wasn't here very long. I met this bass player, Thomas Eck, who's played with just tons of people, and
He's probably the coolest looking person I've ever seen in the music business. Every time I've seen him play, like with you or whatever, he's just looks like as cool as everybody tries to look. If that makes sense.
well, he is as cool. I've
never met the guy,
He is that cool, and we ended up having a cool collaboration and songwriting partnership and playing. We still play music together, but that's when I met him, really it kind of helped shape what the band sound was going to be, and we made a record and called Atlantis, which did pretty decent. We got it helped us get a lot of notoriety, and
Had one of my favorite songs, "Tumbling Down." Is that the name of it? Is that right?
Yeah, that was
tumbling. No, fucking love that song.
I love that song too. It's a Britton Cameron. Me and him wrote that song, Britton. I saw him the other day.
It was around that time. I think the first time
Fenwick's.
the first time I met you was at the Rutledge. I played before you at the Rutledge, and y'all were coming in from another show or something, coming in hot, and so. But I remember seeing y'all play that night, and I was like, that song is badass.
Thanks. Yeah, I should probably play that again. That's a fun song. I just sort of took out. Yeah, but you just kind of go through the years and
you flow
take songs in and out of the set.
Yeah,
that one's really fun to do.
Well, the Whiskey Wolves thing is more. It's more on the. I don't know. Whatever.
It's the country Americana deal. Sure,
yeah.
And it's just I kind of followed it as I do any kind of music. I just kind of follow with the songwriting.
Yeah.
You just go where the songs take you.
Right.
And for this, I really wanted to play pedal steel more.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw some videos I was watching earlier where you were playing pedal steel while Tim was playing guitar on a couple of things.
Yeah. I do that all the time, and I like singing and playing pedal steel. It's really fun.
It's that seems like that would be one of the harder, more difficult instruments to learn. I don't know. I've never tried.
It's impossible. I have no idea what I'm doing on it. Every time I sit down at it, it's like a impossible puzzle.
I've tried like a lap steel before, and that's hard enough. But I can't imagine the pedal because you're moving your feet, your knees, and you're sliding and picking.
It's totally ridiculous. I don't know why I'm torturing myself on a daily basis with it, but it really sounds beautiful once you get it, once you have it under your hands.
Yeah.
And it's, if you can keep the dang thing in tune,
right?
Which is 99% of it.
I had Cowboy Eddie Long in here.
He's phenomenal.
One of the
guy.
best. Yeah,
he's so great, and
he makes it look easy. He's just like,
yeah. I've seen him do some crazy stuff. Sure.
Him and
we got to do this. I got invited to go down to the to Jamie's golf benefit that he has down in Montgomery, Alabama. They have a big, huge jam at the end.
Nice.
At the end, so everybody gets up there and plays. And we had to do some song, and it was this ferocious tempo, and it's like tons of chord changes.
Yeah,
and I was just I had to do my solo, so here it comes, I'm up here. I don't know how this happened.
One of the 7 solos in the song.
No, there wasn't too many, but I was up there and I just started, I'm jamming through. I played as, quick as I could, and then my solo's over, and then here comes Cowboy, like playing twice as fast as me. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what he was doing on that stupid thing. He's great.
So what do you, the Whiskey Wolves, what y'all got going on now? You got the new CD came out not long ago, right?
Yeah, well, 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so we released our new album. It's called Country Roots.
Yeah.
And it's a 7-song album. It's concise, and it is all about the Whiskey Wolves of the West. We wrote these songs, me and Tim, with the help of just, I think there's 2 other writers involved on a couple songs.
Yeah.
But we... it was a funny thing. We just started writing songs, and we thought, oh, man, this sounds great. maybe we should try and play a show. Well, I was billed to play at Stagecoach Festival as Leroy Powell back in 2015.
Oh, okay.
2016, maybe 2016. And instead of going there as Leroy Powell, I said, well, hey, I'm just going to call it Whiskey Wolves of the West, and that'll be our first show. So we went and did our first show
at Stagecoach.
And it turned out it turned out great. We got a great review. Like the LA Times did a little write up on us, which was encouraging. And so when we came back to Nashville, we decided to go ahead and make some recordings. Yeah. So we started recording all the songs, and we've recorded almost 25, 30 songs. Yeah. And so out of that mess,
so you just record them and then you pick which ones.
We decide what we're going to do with them after we make them.
Yeah.
It's like, this is, so the luxury of that is that we could have like a whole grip of songs and have it all be, have it be a vibe. You can put the record in and really listen to it. Otherwise, we just release singles.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people just pick 7 or 8 songs that have nothing to do with each other. They're just like, we'll just throw all these separate songs onto something that have nothing to do with each other instead of having it be a project, like a whole piece of art.
Yeah, there's a bunch of ways to do it, I guess, but we just chose that way. And it's everything kind of has been happy accident after happy accident.
Yeah. Man, that's what I feel like that's what life is a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's going on.
That's deep, man.
Yeah, it's deep, man. I'm out of coffee, man. It's unfortunate.
Me too.
I wish I had a little bell I could ding and go get some more coffee. Actually, we'll be right back, people. Actually, we'll be back in just about 2 seconds for you listening, but I'm going to go get some more coffee. All right. We're back. People, I know it didn't take but half a second for you listening, but we went and got some more coffee. So now we can talk some more. What you said, we were talking a minute ago, you said you have kids, 2 children?
Yeah, I got two little baby girls,
How old are they?
3 and 9 months. 3 years
Ooh.
old. She just turned 3. Little Athena and little Glory.
Oh, my sister has a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and they'll be 5 and 7 in May, and they are crazy.
Yeah, so
I love
she
them,
just
but
got through she's been through what I'm going through right now.
Every time they start like being children and acting like children do, and she'll look frustrated or something for a minute, and I'll be like, "Hey, that's your fault. You did that. You made those things."
Yeah.
But the good far outweighs the bad.
It's like looking into a time machine mirror.
Yeah.
You see yourself at that age in your children, and you realize what a horrible pain in the ass you were.
Man,
probably still are.
So my brother-in-law and my sister graduated high school together, but didn't really know each other growing up. They were like different cliques, different groups of friends and everything, and they were 2 years ahead of me in school. And so my brother-in-law was a mean son of a bitch. Like, he played football with me. We played football together, and he was always bigger and stronger and meaner. And I wrestled for a couple years, and he wrestled all through school. And he would just wipe the mat with me, just smear my face in the mat, and he was just a pain in the ass. And so one of the last times I went home, my nephew, who's 4, about to be 5, is starting youth wrestling. And so I went with my sister to one of the practices and was watching him out there with the little kids. And he was wrestling with this little kid that was his age, but a little bit smaller than him. And he was wiping the mat with him and like smearing his face in the mat. So I'm like, oh my God, he's his dad. I wanted to go help the little kid that he was wrestling with. I was like, I feel so bad.
It's the truth. It's like I sit around and I'm watching, I like, playing I got my guitars out. I'm, the piano's hanging out. I got guitar, the drums and the pedal steel and all my gear. Everything's out all the time. It's a mess. And my daughter, my 3-year-old, just wants to go around and just play every little instrument. And then you touch do this and that. And then she's telling me how to do it, which is like, I'm the band leader now. So
yeah, you're not doing it right, Dad.
Yeah, that's my line.
So what's up next? Are y'all playing? Do y'all have any shows coming up? Where can people?
Yeah, we have. Ideally for us, I would prefer to go out and play festivals around the country. I like those the most. I can go hang out with my friends and see all their bands play, and then we can get a show in too, and all the people come out and they see the show and they go. I don't have to spend Wednesday and BFE,
right? Yeah,
eating at a Chili's, waiting for sound check.
Yeah,
and then I like playing in town. We got all these we have a residency at the Settler.
Oh, you still doing? I was wondering if you were still doing that.
We play most every Saturday, and you can catch us between 8 and midnight on Saturday nights. And those shows are great. And the great talent in Nashville when people are home.
Yeah,
they come. People come in and sit in. We have so many great, all our friends.
Yeah, people should definitely, if you're in Nashville, folks, you should go to the Settler on a Saturday night and catch them, because it's a great place. Aside from the fact that y'all are awesome, the Settler's cool. They got great food. It's a cool all around.
Yeah, I love it. I like going there and playing, and we've been, we've really made it a thing for. It's like a fun thing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What have you in the past? Like with Leroy and the Messengers, and then with the Whiskey Wolf stuff, do y'all do your own booking and PR and stuff like that, or have you had people that you've have y'all signed with somebody, or how does that like?
It's been so many variations of all of that. yeah, we've had, there's agents and management and publicists and, all the mess of the music business and some people having varying levels of success in their different roles.
Yeah. There's so much. There's so much that goes into it other than just playing music.
It really it is, but I don't think I like it for a listener to not have to know about that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to know. It's like I don't care how the fillings are made. I just want my tooth to not ache any longer.
Yeah.
It's like you just want to listen to the music and have the experience of whatever that feeling is. You don't want to think about, the financial woes
the real stuff.
of the company or what's going on here or there or who's mad at who. 'Cause at the end of the day, who cares?
Chance and I were talking yesterday about social media and the ups and downs of it and how it's just changed the paradigm of what stars or whatever, what the popular music makers are, because he said, like, growing up, George Strait and all these people just seemed like otherworldly people that they just, like, you didn't know much about them other than you saw them on TNN or CMT or whatever. But he was saying he might have felt differently about coming up here or felt differently about the music if he had known what George Strait had for breakfast because he Instagram videoed it that morning, or like what workout Joe Diffie was doing that afternoon before, like the knowing so much and being so connected with the people that used to be up here. Does that make sense?
It makes all the sense in the world. I mean, as a kid listening to music, I always thought that, rock stars and country stars and, big music people that I loved in music, I always thought they're like superheroes or comic book villains, or it was in a different level of let my imagination run wild, which is what is lacking in, even in the music that people are making.
Yeah.
It's
a good point.
It's like people are it's stifling to have to live in the confines of reality. When you're having
well put. Yeah.
when you have to, when you're like, oh well, if I don't let somebody see what I'm doing backstage, people are not going to be more engaged in my Instagram page, which is not going to, feed us more likes. It's like I don't give a fuck about. I mean, you want people to like your site and buy your music, and you need to have some kind of success in order to be able to make more music. I mean, it's like you got your music addiction you got to feed, and if nobody likes it, well then then you can't do it for money, then you're going to have to just do it while you're flipping burgers somewhere, which is fine too, I guess. But it's hard to be divided like that if you can't just focus your entire energy into your music. When
part of your mind is being taken up by all these other things that you have to be doing, and you feel like you have to be doing.
Yeah, and these days you got to do so much to just keep it going. You got to keep the ball in the air. You're writing, you're playing, you're producing, you're recording. You're doing live shows. You're doing, any little thing it seems to add up, and I do think it suffers. The social media, as great and powerful as it is, and
it's not all bad.
And it's. I think it's generally awesome.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, there's a lot of imagination lost.
I wonder if it's like the change that it has made in the last however long is similar to when in the 80s or whatever, when people started seeing videos and started seeing interviews and all this stuff. Like I've heard my dad talk about when he was growing up in the, he was born in 58. So in the late 60s, early 70s, when he was starting to listen to music and pay attention, he didn't, unless somebody came to where you could go see them play live, he didn't even know what people looked like. Like they didn't know what Queen or any of these people, unless their picture was on the album, like they had no idea even what they even looked like. So I wonder if it was similar. That's how some of that era felt when people started getting interviewed.
I bet it's just, I think it's more intense now.
Yeah, for
than it was in the 80s when, it's like, yeah, because it just takes you further and further away. You start off with going in the video era. It's like, well, would Roy Orbison have had a career?
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Patsy Cline.
I mean, I love the way Roy Orbison looks, but for the public consumption,
right.
And at the time, it's like, do they want to follow this guy? And then in the video era, and then nowadays with this, the pressures of having to, keep your Twitter feed full of something.
Yeah.
It's like you're just, the people that are the space cadet artists, the ones that's the ones I like the most.
Yeah.
They're just dropping like flies because they just don't.
Yeah.
They don't want to look at their phone.
Yeah,
all day long.
The artists, the I don't know. I hate to say true artists because everybody's creating art in some way. But I know what you mean. The space cadet, like the really out there people.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like I watch some crazy. And then you're watching what people post. I forget, somebody posted this crazy Captain Beefheart video the other day. It was it was so crazy.
I've never listened. Is that a band or is that a guy?
It's a guy with a band. It's Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band.
Okay, I've heard people talk about it, but I've never listened to the music.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
but I couldn't imagine what his Twitter feed would have been in the 70s. 60s.
What kind of stuff did you grow up listening to? Like your first stuff that you bought and you were really into.
It was weird. I had tapes that like mix tapes that you just record off of people, and I had like really bizarre tapes. So I'd like it'd be Hank Jr. Greatest hits, and then on the other side was Van Halen, 1984.
Yeah,
or I was listening to like AC/DC and Boston and George Jones, and Hank Williams Sr. and it was just all over the map.
Yeah. So when you were like first getting into playing, did you like play along with those? Did you like play that and then try to like play like?
Yeah, I tried.
Tried to play. Yeah, tried.
Yeah, I was listening to music before I played. Obviously, you listen to music before you start playing. I like Michael Jackson, of course. I had parachute pants.
Did you?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, do you have a picture of you with parachute
pants? I don't think so. It might have. They only lasted one day because they were really cheap, and of course I busted out the knees the first day because they weren't leather.
Trying to do some MC Hammer moves or something.
Yeah, something. You're 6, you just go for it. But and then when I started playing guitar, like I said, I got that. I had that magazine, and I went down to the store to buy the tapes of those. Because I didn't have it. I didn't have the Are You Experienced album.
Right.
And I didn't have Houses of the Holy. And I didn't have the, I forget the name of the Georgia Satellites record. But, then I had it and I listened to the records and it just tripped me out. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And I listened to everything on headphones because I didn't want anyone to know what I was doing. I was really secretive about it. Because
music's always better in headphones anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I guess sometimes, but I just totally immersed myself.
Yeah.
In it, and I just lived inside that little world, which was. So I guess that was my first, little go at it. But I right out of the gate, I came from all these different, influences.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm in the I mean, there's like Michael Bolton in there. Forgot, like weird, some crazy jazz stuff, all sorts of things.
One of my favorite questions to ask: do you prefer creamy or crunchy peanut butter?
Depends.
Ooh,
It depends.
it depends, man. All right,
It depends.
fair enough. Oh man, I was gonna say something else right then, and it just left me. Oh, I know what it was.
Right, that's the
all right, people.
magic of editing.
Yeah, how about that? Just clicking away. I know what it was. If somebody were to want to hear some of this Whiskey Wolves of the West, if they wanted to find out more about the band, if they wanted to see where you're going to be playing, is there some way that they could go to a computer and type in something and see those things?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. You can go to thewhiskeywolvesofthewest.com where everything is available. The physical CDs and such, T-shirts, and amazing hats, apparel, and such. But of course, you can get it on iTunes and Amazon and all of those.
Are you on
regular
Spotify?
places.
That's what everybody wants to know.
We're on Spotify. We are. It is against all of my wants and desires.
You don't want to make your tens of cents.
I'm very opposed to the business model of Spotify and those kind of companies. I think it is deteriorating the quality of music that's coming out.
Yeah, it's it's great for the people listening to it and for the Spotify company and their shareholders.
It's putting the songwriters out of business.
Yeah.
And the songwriters are what make the songs interesting and give the depth to the content of the songs. When you have "Oh Yeah, Hey Hey Baby" on every song, you just and then the tailgate finger fucking on the other end of it.
It's like we're still operating on copyright laws and things from like the early 1900s. So they're
I don't really know about the law and such in that respect, but I do know that there's protections for intellectual property, and songwriting is intellectual property.
Yeah.
And when you have people just using it without a lease, without leasing it, and just going out there and setting up their radio stations and calling it something else.
Yeah.
And they've skirted it. They skirted the issue somehow. I would, we'll see what happens down the road away. I'm sure, Spotify's paying off people to keep their mouth shut. Anybody who's powerful enough to oppose them.
I read a story recently in the newspaper, and it said the top 3 to 5 or so record labels here in town own like 30 or 40% of Spotify.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go. Collusion.
Right.
I mean, I don't care about Russia, but I want to get down to the bottom of Spotify. I'll tell you.
Spotify collusion.
That's, it wouldn't take them, a 10-month investigation to find something weird going on there. Take them 2 days.
Yeah.
2 hours, 2 minutes.
I understand that it's just an emerged technology I don't think that streaming is going to go anywhere. I think that's the way people want to do it. But there's got to be a better way for them to get the content.
Remember, there was such a media campaign, it's like, remember when Metallica said they didn't want to be on Rhapsody or whatever, they sued and the powers that be, there was that big campaign to demonize those guys.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're standing in the way of progress and get out of the way. And they were right.
Yeah.
They were right. They saw it back then.
Yeah.
And now we're at the spot that we're in with, where, you just want to, you want to see the people that are writing the music get paid, because it helps them have a life and be able to, eat
And they're creating something that millions of people are enjoying.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
And when the average Spotify worker is making $180,000 a year, and your average songwriter is making $20,000 a year,
Yeah.
there's a problem.
Agreed.
And and it's just one guy's making the songs, and the other guy's counting the money. It's
Yeah.
just not. It's the music business, I think.
Right.
I think that's what we're talking about, right?
Indeed. Well, Leroy, if you could go back to yourself at 17, 18 years old and give yourself a piece of advice or some pieces of advice, what would you tell yourself?
I wouldn't have said anything because I would have looked at myself and realized there was nothing that this guy would have listened to.
Yeah.
Really. It's a good question.
That's a fair answer. That there's nothing that I could have said that would have made any difference.
Nothing would have made any difference.
Yeah, I've had several people that have said something along that lines, or they'll say something and then they'll be like, "But that wouldn't have mattered because I would have told myself to fuck off."
Yeah,
It
would have been nice. I see some people that are younger musicians that are just so mature and so talented and amazing at a young age. And I realized that a fair deal of mentoring is necessary in that. It plays a big part in having some sort of a example of what to do, maybe not what not to do, what not to do. Sure. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
You can't, people don't just, it's like when you're just, some jerk off kid somewhere and think they're going to be, rock star. You just don't, that kind of guy isn't going to listen to anything.
Right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, yeah, dude. Thanks for talking. This was fun. Let's finish our coffee.
It was great.
Maybe.
Thanks, Jacob. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. There it was. Me and Leroy talking it up. We talked about music and family, peanut butter, all the important things of life. Make sure you go check out whiskeyWolvesofthewest.com. Download their album, Country Roots. Check it out. You can follow them on social media if that's the kind of thing that you like to do. And I believe all of theirs are under @whiskeyWolvesofthewest. And I'll have the link to the website and maybe a couple videos and all that good stuff on the show notes page, which is on the website, and it is over at don'tstifleme.com/050, episode 50. Now, like I said at the start, if you enjoyed this talk, please subscribe, share with your friends, anybody you think might enjoy it. But also go give a look at patreon.com/DSM podcast. Over there, you can see pictures, videos, download MP3s of some of the songs that I play with the guests, and all that for like $1, $3, $5 per month, whatever you choose. And that money goes to help support the production and editing costs of doing this podcast. And once again, that is patreon.com/DSM podcast. And I thank you very much for those of you who check that out. Thanks again so much for listening and for being you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. You can follow the podcast here at DSM Podcast. My social medias are all at Jacob Stiefel. And I will talk to you again very soon. what you should do at the end of all the Whiskey Wolves of the West albums.
Woo!